Hi, everybody. It's Tim. Remember me? Yeah, I'm one of the two hosts of this show. I just wanted to remind you that this is part 2 of episode 100. If you haven't listened to part 1, what are you doing here? Enjoy.
It's not ready yet.
Seems to work okay.
No, something important's missing.
What did not work?
So now, how I decided? Well, what are the categories? How am I rating? What's the worst? What's my bottom 9 here? It was how I forget the exact quote, but someone said like the most. You know, if you're talking about the ways movies are bad, you can be this, you can be this, you can be this, but just don't bore me. You know?
Yeah.
And I think all these films, they come from they were boring when it comes down to it. They weren't offering anything, but to the extent that it then made me mad, that's why these are all like avoidance, you know?
I think, yeah, almost all of mine actually like pissed me off.
Yeah.
All but one, really.
Do you want to just, rather than taking turns, just each go down ours, just try to get through it quick, or
Sure.
how do you want to do it? Okay. Well,
Sure. I mean, yeah, go.
Well, I was gonna say
I don't think we need to like get down into the depths of why these movies suck.
no, but let's. I started last time. How about you go ahead?
Okay. You know, I had a hard time like making any sort of order. So this is not really in a order per se. It just sort of, I'm like, they all suck, so fucking whatever. The Cured, Strangers Pray at Night, Maggie, Arnold, Satan's Slaves, Cherry Falls, Trench 11, The Grudge, and of course, The Girl Next Door.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all just bad. And they're well, all of them but Pray at Night are boring, I think. And they just, you know, there's so many others that suck too, but like, these ones piss me off.
Yeah.
I think partially because a lot of them you could have done something with.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They just like phoned it in or kind of did like the cliche instead of like using cliche to your advantage. They just were like, oh yeah, jump scare. It's just like, fuck all that.
Right, that was a consistent thing. It's be interesting to see what our differences were, but we have mostly overlap here. So I did my best to order them. So from number 9 to number 1. Number 9 is Death Bell. Number 8 was Inside.
Interesting.
Number 7 was Julia's Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about boring. About boring. How about my number 6, Trench 11?
Horrible. You know, I don't remember anything from Trench 11.
All I remember is
how fucking unmemorable it is.
The only thing that was in it was cool was the little angel hair pasta worms.
I've forgotten about that.
There you go.
That's how boring it was.
Yo, I was so mad watching Tim number 5 because it was like, it felt gross on the level of it was clearly trying to pay homage to films that it loved that just made it all that much more just kind of gross to watch. Is Evil Ed.
I know. I thought about that. But you know why Evil Ed didn't make it into mine?
Why?
It's because of the basketball severed head dunk into the garbage can.
See, that just makes me mad that it was like in this film, like it's all tainted, you know, like that.
Yeah.
They were the same people who made this film who executed that moment. I just can't.
Right.
It's just
Right.
all bad. Number 4, Maggie. God, not
So
even
bad.
Arnold could save it. Like, really?
Nope.
Really? Not even Arnold
What
could
a
save it?
nothing movie.
Really? And then talk about another nothing movie. Number 3 and 4 were pretty interchangeable from me. Number 3, never getting that money back when we went and saw The Cured.
Nope.
Yeah, you mentioned that one. And sad to talk about missed opportunity. You have Ellen Page. Like,
Seriously. Come on.
number 2 for me is The Girl Next Door. God. Yeah, that's a pretty recent one we watched. That one
Yep.
was fun.
It's just not a movie. It's just a piece of shit.
And and you know what else I'd say is not a movie and just a piece of shit? Tim, you know what my number one is?
Of course.
The Grudge from 2020. And
I think really fondly upon that memory of that theater experience.
I was you just, because you don't see me ever get mad like that, huh?
I know.
Like,
it was so intense that I had to do an Instagram story of you afterwards just being fucking like seethingly mad.
well, it's not only was it as bad, if not, just weird and in a bad way and just worse than all the other ones. Like you talk about, these are ordered for me. I had to put it as number one because talk about missed opportunity making us mad. It's a Grudge movie too, and you know how I feel about that. It does feel personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that it sort of had like not high expectations, but we liked Nicolas Pesce's other movie. So and
That's right.
He had the cast for it. So there's just so much of just like, how did this go so wrong? Yet it was so funny because, like you mentioned, jump scares, blah, blah, blah. And this felt like the death knell of like that. Like this is the embodiment of that kind of like approach of the kind of like horrible studio slasher or horror films of the aughts. It feels like that's something we should be long, have evolved past. But here it was in what felt like a final just kind of like death grasp, a lot of what I'd like to think the evils of the world are at right now. But God, still had money behind it. People still made it. So mad.
I think that's a big part of what pisses me off a lot of the time, right? Like Strangers Prey at Night, for example, I think visually is really quite interesting. I like a lot of the visuals, but they just completely they mediocred a story that you didn't have to. It wouldn't have been that hard to make that story compelling.
Yeah.
But instead, they, and maybe a lot of this, who knows, it comes down to studios or producers sort of getting in there and making bad decisions. Maybe it's the director. I don't know who's the culprit or if it's a collective failure. But I just cannot stand middling. And we talk about that a lot, right? It's like, if you're going to make a movie, you better have a point of view. And if you don't, make that your point of view.
Yeah.
Don't just do the sort of like middling, let's try and reach everybody, so let's hit right in the sort of the average of what we think people will be into so we can capture a wide audience. It's like, it doesn't work that. It has never worked.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
That's what Trench 11 feels like to me, like out of all these for whatever reason. Because I'm looking at like, what are some kind of overlapping qualities about them? Like I'd lump together The Cured, Maggie, Julia's Eyes, and Inside on my list as far as the kind of grossness and awkwardness from when you see a seriousness still being taken to the subject matter. Even like Girl Next Door to an extent, but that's just its whole like different weird head case that movie is. But like, Maggie, Cured, Julia's Eyes, Inside, it just was like that much more worse watching them when it feels like, oh, this is serious, this is meditative, this is about important things. And it just,
You know what I noticed? There's a commonality in the coloring of a lot of these movies. They're all slightly desaturated. They have kind of a gray wash to them.
Exactly. Like what I mentioned.
And it's
those.
like, what? Why? Like, what do you think you're accomplishing by doing that? And because if you look at our list of the ones that we love, every single one of them, except for the two that are in black and white, or three that are in black and white. I mean, Hexen I wouldn't even say is in black and white, even though it is, because there is color in it, and purposeful color. So, other than The Lighthouse and Psycho, every other one of those is very vibrant. And Under the Skin is not the most colorful movie, but it is very
It's uniquely dark, the contrast.
That's right. The contrast is a coloring aspect that makes it vibrant.
But like The Cured and Maggie just felt like, oh, this is sad.
They literally just turned the saturation down.
Yeah, shoot it 235, make it desatted, and it will be sad because that's all that sad movies have to do to make us feel sad.
Yeah,
it's so manipulative.
Satan's Slaves had that sort of vibe to it too. Trench 11 had kind of a version of that where they just made everything kind of brown and yellow.
Yeah.
The Grudge had it like it's totally desaturated. It's just shit. Don't do that. Or if you are, you better have a fucking good reason for it.
Right. My honorable mentions, but I wanted to mention why they weren't quite in my bottom 9. And it's funny because, so basically it's like, so that I group, let's say, Insidious, The Last Key, and Strangers Pray at Night together. Insidious, like I said in that review, at least there's cool monster design. Like I think of that, like I think of a monster hand with a finger that is keys, and I go, cool. And then Strangers...
hated that movie.
Oh yeah, no, not to get it wrong. I hated it, but we're just talking about any redeemable qualities. Why this is if we did rank them. Similarly, Strangers Pray at Night. I have friends they like really were into that movie, Strangers Pray at Night. They want to defend it. I keep asking them to on the show.
Yeah, be my guest.
Send in a message.
Be our guest.
But I do get the aesthetic appeal of that final showdown at the pool.
I do too. So that's what I'm talking about when I say like there is some good visuals in that.
And then different from those two, Arnold, I didn't put in just because the memory of watching it and just like it's terrible, but it's also unlike anything we've watched. And
I know, but I feel like I can't not include it considering how upset it made me that Peter recommended it to us.
Which is funny just in itself that like, hey, if we're trying to see some obscure movies here too, talk about Arnold. Yeah. And then the last one I had down but didn't make it my 9 was The Devil's Backbone, which is like funny because people love it. It's in the Criterion Collection. It's Guillermo del Toro. But like, I just think of Tim, like you and I cracking up. Or not cracking up like it, but just kind of being like, whoa, what? When that explosion happens in it. Like, the fact that we got that moment out of it, and just that, I guess it was cool to look at as far as just the setting. There you go.
There are good shots in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, well-composed, visually, like, nice shots. But, man, I'll tell you what. If there's one indicator of a bad movie in this particular case, just look at the poster or the DVD cover of The Devil's Backbone. It is a fucking mess.
Yeah.
It looks like a role-playing like PC games fucking cover. Like from like 1993. It's just such bad construction, and it kind of makes you go, wait. They didn't care. Like, this is what they think is representative of the movie. It just seems disconnected.
Yeah.
And indicative of some problem.
I'm just trying to look at, too, what are some other, unifying traits or just unique things about anything else on my bottom 9 here. I feel like The Girl Next Door was unique among them in something about just the acting and the directing, like just feeling off on that. The level of like how the actors are being used, where it just felt, I don't know how much of it, we talked about this in the episode, why it was kind of fascinating, I thought, to break down this movie too, was like, is it just the writing that's making it all so bad? You know, as far as the dialogue goes, but there was something very particular about the acting style and the delivery of dialogue in The Girl Next Door, amongst the other ones, which just felt like when you were making it, I could imagine all the other films feeling like you were making a good movie when you were making it, but something about The Girl Next Door, it just feels awkward. Like every time someone talks.
I think what we talked about and what I'm looking at my list, I think is kind of true for most of these. What it seems like it is that in all of these movies, it's directors who do not actually understand how humans behave. Mm-hmm. And so what happens when that's the case is that you have an actor who, actors know what they're doing for the most part. Like in actually a lot of these movies, there are very, very accomplished and talented actors in almost every single one of these movies. And yet, in spite of that, you get these weird, stilted, disconnected, unpleasant performances. And a lot of time we want to be like you're saying, oh, it's bad writing, and there's sort of a common, sense that you can't really shine shit when it comes to writing, no matter how good of an actor you are. But, you can, if you have both the actor and the director on the same page, you can fix bad writing by doing a bunch of different things, like figuring out how to focus on the nuance of what is going on with the actual character rather than relying on the words of the script to, get that across. And I think pretty much every case here, it really seems like the director had one idea of how people behave based on the writing, and the actor could not figure out how to meet that. And it falls apart because then we are left to be like, wait, why are you saying it that way based on what's going on? These things aren't connecting.
Yeah.
So it's like Ellen Page is a fucking amazing actress. She is not, the decisions that her character makes and then how she is directed to perform in relation to those decisions don't line up.
Yeah.
And I think, she's good enough to know that, right? And when she's on set, she knows that it's not lining up. So she's trying, and she's actually being directed away from it.
Right.
And it's being edited away from that. So there's a lot of problems.
Yeah. And you're right. Yeah. Just kind of how the filmmakers, how a movie perceives its people, its characters as people. That's key. I mean, it just proves character is key. And looking at these bottom 9 films, I just never, the whole movie you're sitting there going, I don't care what happens to these people on any level.
Because they're not people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem, is that I think in almost every case, the director doesn't actually see them as human beings.
And you can have it be as ridiculous and stylistic as Death Bell and Evil Ed were going for, but you take crazy stylistic From Beyond. It's, you can still have good characters, even if it sort of seems like it's, also a comic book you're kind of watching.
Mm-hmm.
Not to, sorry, I know, you know what I mean when I say that. Comic books can run the gamut too.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so since this isn't a podcast about trashing movies,
it's also a podcast about thinking if there are any things interesting or noteworthy to take away. So should we do that?
Yes.
All right. Last section here, things of note.
Things of note!
This should be interesting.
So I think this is going to be a fun exercise in sort of what comes to mind first, sort of a Rorschach test of our episodes and the films we've watched.
Yes.
So we're gonna we're gonna go from episode 1 to episode 99, and the first thing that sort of comes to mind as potentially a
indelible
moment, yeah, comes to mind.
So this is I want to say this is largely inspired by this whole podcast when a friend and myself had to get together and watch movies like this and started keeping track of everything in a journal. But indelible moments was the sort of thing that we pinned it down onto why horror movies, or was a fun answer for us. Despite how bad all these movies may be, because it's horror, you may always get those one or few moments that you just can't do in anything else. So, yeah. And
so we'll do our best.
And I want to keep better track of it as we continue. Remembering,
that's not a bad idea.
Remember in things of note, we always have what was the indelible moment.
Sure.
So, because as Tim, you're going to have to lead us here on this because my memory isn't so good for these. So I'll let you
do my best.
I'll let you. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So, I'll say the film. You tell me if you've got anything. I'll tell you what I've got.
Okay.
The Babysitter.
Ooh, I mean, just the knives through the head.
That's mine too.
yeah.
That moment is, who? Hey now.
Yes.
Also, the car going through the bay window as sort of the end payoff.
Yes. And I remember fondly a moment that was like a vase that they almost fell and they caught. Like
Yes.
there was a gag I hadn't seen before.
That's right. I will say about this movie, although I don't think we should go too deep into most of these, but the Babysitter being the first episode we did had a lot of really great things going on. And one of them, if not the one that really sticks in my mind, is every death is set up and paid off.
Yes.
And that is awesome.
Yes.
And it's like what I want a lot of the time. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. So,
great. Keep going.
number 2, episode 2, The Transfiguration. What comes to mind?
The opening, how we started with a visceral bloody kill at the way beginning. And then this wasn't a moment per se, but it felt indelible every single time he like walked away with his just kind of like
Yes.
introverted kid backpack saunter after a kill.
Exactly. I always just think immediately of him throwing up the blood.
Oh, right.
Because it's like, oh, right. He's not, we're not built to do that. This is sort of a fantasy of his.
Yeah.
And the body is like going, dude, stop, gross. I really hate throw up anyway, so that was that memorable. All right, so, oh God, Insidious, The Last Key, anything?
Is there a bookshelf that fell on someone?
Yes, that's the only moment I have too, where I'm like, it was so unnecessary of a kill, but it's like the one moment where dude gets a bookshelf dropped on him.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, finally he's dead. All right, Asylum.
Okay, body parts moving around on their own.
So good.
Little tiny robot stabbing
So
someone to death.
Getting squished with jelly in them.
like a toy, and then a coat attacking someone, a colored coat.
Oh yeah. The Technicolor dream coat that reanimates the mannequin.
And then last but not least, the laugh at the end.
Oh yes, that is so good.
It's the laugh. I always kind of wanted to keep this a secret, but it's the laugh that we use at the beginning of our show.
That's right.
Title.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, next is Willard.
I mean, the centerpiece scene of that's like the Looney Tunes chase between the rats and the cat.
Oh yeah. Yeah, good one. Okay, 47 meters down.
God, nothing's coming to mind.
So for me, this one has like one of the big, like, I guess, triggering sort of scenes when she has to swim across the big, like, underwater cavern. I'm immediately, my blood pressure goes up.
Right.
I'll never forget that feeling of like, oh, fuck no. No.
Right.
So like, of not the greatest movie, but having a moment that got me that like wound was commendable. Next is The Ritual.
I can't think of a moment. I just think of the monster being cool.
Me too. That's all I'm like, the monster was just fucking wild design.
Yeah.
Well, we don't need to talk about this. Mandy.
Right.
The Cured. We kind of. Is there anything in The Cured?
Yeah. How about, as far as, an indelible moment that's indelible because it's a bad movie is when we had like 2 or 3 moments where they're like standing there and like out of nowhere they get jumped by a zombie that they should have seen coming, but just because the movie can't see it in the frame, they don't see it.
Ugh, gross. So next is Ju-on.
Dude, the reflection of the little ghost boy that you see like during a daytime scene when like one of the victims is out and about, and then just it's hard to say this is a moment because this happens in all the Ju-on movies, but just screaming cat noise coming through white-faced ghost person.
Yes. All I remember from the Ju-on movie is that her pillow is on the wrong side of the bed, and it really upsets me. And when I say wrong, I mean just wrong for me. What's next? Oh, come on. The fact that we haven't talked about Tetsuo the Iron Man is amazing, but
Yeah, this one was great. Tetsuo the Iron Man. I mean, if just indelible moments goes though, the dick drill
yeah, for sure.
or drill dick.
Drill dick, yeah.
Yep.
Him as a total metal like metal whatever beast thing at the end, like flying around like he's on wheels, that's what pops into my head.
Yeah.
Oh God, strangers pray at night. I don't know, the swimming pool,
Yeah.
I guess. X-Day hair extensions.
This
Here we go.
has my favorite indelible moment in any film we've watched. X-Day hair extensions. I love the filmmaker too. Sion Sono made one of my top 3 ever favorite films. Top 4. How do you describe this moment, Tim?
God. I don't know how it's like a
So we live in a world. We live in a world. The killer is hair. So one of the other great indelible moments is just like a kill scene where the hair just straight up goes all in and out of someone and kind of
that's what I
stretches them
remember.
across the room. But this is where we have our main bad guy who is the hair fetishist.
He gets like sort of cut in half, disemboweled, kind of. What would you even call that? He's like
vertical layers are sliced out of him.
Yes.
So he's put to like tiny kind of like troll sized.
So all of his body parts that remain fall perfectly onto each other, starting with the feet.
So it creates this effect of like a weird little goblin troll person who's then filled with hair that's holding him together. And he's like still alive. So it's kind of like that effect. I think I described it as like if you put like your hands underneath your shirt and into shoes, like, that kind of like little gag. It felt like that.
Oh, God. It's amazing. Okay, next is Onibaba.
Just forget. I remember her grabbing onto a tree in distress, and that being just something that stands out to me.
I just remember her the mom trying to peel the mask off her face. Was just brutal. Next is Halloween 2018.
I mean, I always think of just those first kills and how brutal they are, like in the bathroom.
Yeah. I love the bathroom scene. What's next? The Black Cat.
God, I already kind of touched on it in my favorite moments. I mean,
so good.
Whether it's a guy getting skinned alive, every time Bela Lugosi freaks out at a cat.
Right. Wreck 2.
Really good. I can't remember any specific moments right now, though.
There's a moment when they like pick up the ceiling tile and you kind of see the like squirrely, monstery thing, and it is it's like a really good example of how to do a jump scare without doing the bullshit aspects of a jump scare.
Yeah.
Just very creepy and eerie and really gets you. Lake Bottom. Oh, I'm sorry. Aramentari, the blacksmith, and the devil is next.
I remember the what's the character's name who's like the goblin devil guy? That's the captured one. He had a fun name. I forget what it was. But when he gets captured in a bear trap for the second time or whatever, and he gets so mad at it. And then also the transformation at the end of who turns out to be the main bad guy is kind of like the tiny guy with glasses, like him turning into the big monster.
Yeah, that is good. Nice. Lake Bottom.
I don't know.
Nothing. Maggie. Nothing.
Yeah.
Ghost Stories.
Ooh, I mean, the pulling away of the reality.
It.
Yeah.
That is it. To me, that paper wall sort of effect, and they tear it up and go through it, is the fucking greatest thing.
Yeah.
What do we got? Planet of the Vampires. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, you have to remind me.
For me, it's a set design thing. There's this sort of concentric circles set piece that is just fucking incredible looking.
Yeah.
And like also just the idea that there's so many elements that bear these amazing similarities to the first Alien movie.
Right.
And just like seeing that sort of, whether it's a collective conscious sort of thing or if they were really pulling from it, just it feels very similar and it's cool.
Yeah. I forget specific moments though, if there's a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, they crawl over the same styrofoam rock about 20 times from different angles.
There it is.
Next is Arnold.
Dude, I mean, every time like we heard the Arnold's voice speak and saw his dead body,
Yeah.
honestly, the kills like getting
The kills are pretty good.
getting crushed alive in like, was it the shower or something like that? No, getting crushed by putting on the jacket, the dress or the suit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The suit squish. And then we had the facial cream
That's right.
acids poison.
Yeah, that one's pretty solid. Swamp Thing, you love.
Oh God, this was another one of the top indelible moments, was when you have together the like hodgepodge of investors and rich like people all together to like get presented with this new technology, and he demonstrates the technology to him by transforming one of his henchmen into like a weird little pig rat man.
Yeah. Yeah. And like
whole
the way
scene.
it's shot, he basically they cut away and then cut back, and he's like a totally new actor.
And then also, he hides. I mean, he falls behind, but it's his performance where he's like, like he's going for it, and the transformation. And also shout out to really long like moment of someone gets set on fire at the beginning. Ray Wise's character gets set on fire and like has this long death run out to the swamp. Like,
Yeah.
it was great.
Opera.
I mean, just the classic like imagery from it of the pins, the row of pins under the eyes.
That's mine too.
And then,
for sure.
I mean, the bigger one than that for me though, I think is the just the point of view of the crow or raven going around.
Yeah.
The opera house.
Yeah, in the opera house. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Last House on the Left.
Microwave head death at the end.
See, I'm more into the garbage disposal hand.
Totally.
That just makes my it's like the thing that my mom told me never to put your hand in the garbage disposal ever.
Yeah. And I mean, the girl's death too is just like, God,
Yeah.
just after the whole, after you have half of a movie, that's just like a building chase. Oof.
Yep. Where are we? Deep Red. I like barely remember anything.
I
from
remember
Deep Red.
the eye hole, the eye in the hole in the closet when they go to visit like one of the, it's just snooping from one location to the other. And then just the doll, the ventriloquist dummy doll, like on the tricycle, like coming right at them.
Oh. Yeah. Huh. I've forgotten about that completely. Okay, Evil Ed.
What you already said, I guess, the basketball head
that's
in the trash can.
Dead and Buried.
Ooh, this one was really cool, actually. I liked Dead and Buried. There were some really good specific moments in it. Oh, yeah. We had the nurse who then was there to kill him and like was like gonna lethal inject him or something, and he couldn't move out of it. There's something like that. And then you just had anytime like the grandpa from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Right.
There's this key scene of him doing his embalming process or whatever he would do, where he like played his old timey music. That was a really cool moment for me.
That's right.
And then,
I just remember the cop, like, he's just running in and out of rooms like a fucking maniac all the time.
He's the hopper. Yeah. He's just the very headstrong, like keep moving forward.
Yep. What's next? Ghost Ship.
I forget. There's moments.
I honestly don't remember anything from Ghost Ship.
There were some cool moments that like made it feel like it was kind of a 13 Ghosts light, which it was the same production company, but
totally. Cat People.
I mean the famous being followed scene in the at night
in Central Park. It's
there's some other really cool scenes in it too.
There's some really good shots in it, like just the construction of like multiple cats in different forms, like within the shot, and like the bird cage and the shadow of the bird cage and the shadow of the cat statuette, like look like the cat's actually attacking the bird in the cage in shadow. It's cool stuff. I mean, we don't really need to get into.
I mean,
we already talked about
the indelible moment from that though is, I think for me, it's like Tim Heidecker, like the crazy version of him fixing his hair like mid-till.
That's funny. Oh man. I went to the same high school as the dad, whose name I'm now forgetting, Winston Duke.
Right.
Calvert, we,
Getting
pick
his
one.
getting his head shaved. Within the first 30 minutes, I think is when he sees the animal rape happening. Like he stumbles upon that.
Ugh, brutal. Mom and dad.
Oh wait, sorry, real quick. And also, he didn't mention in Calvert, their big dinner scene that's kind of like inspired by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a lot of ways, where it's this trio of them with their cow now too at the end. And
Yes.
and they say literally like, this is our one, I'm so happy to have our one big happy family. And then our main guy,
God.
Mark, is just starting to laugh hysterically, and they are kind of like laughing with him and at him. And it's just like circles amongst them, and this builds and builds and
God.
builds until one of them gets shot.
Yep. Okay, so mom and dad.
Dude, when Nick Cage gets exploded away when he's at the door, that was the moment.
See, I
for
like
me.
right before that when he gets very obsessed with the fact that it's a Sawzall.
Oh, right. And then I love it when Lance Henriksen shows up at the end as his dad.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. He's the dad. Julia's eyes. I don't remember anything from this movie.
All I remember was that there was a kind of cool scene working with her going blind in a locker room.
Oh yeah, like the other girls who are blind, women who are blind in the locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it being eerie, but yeah, that's about it. Paranormal Activity 3.
There was that one scare moment I remember that just like especially got you. That was just so funny.
It really did.
Like,
yeah, they're in and out of the upstairs bedroom, and then there's a bathroom off of that bedroom, and shit just starts to go wild, and they open the door, and the whole room shit is just getting pulled around, you know, invisibly, and it really. I don't know why, but man, I think because you're primed so much for something that when you actually get this full room, everything's moving moment, it is very upsetting.
I think I was specifically thinking the moment that is just so funny is there's a like fake jump scare of someone like coming out of a closet or something like that.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
Got you.
Yeah,
That was really funny.
There's also the really good camera thing where the camera's on a swivel like a fan.
Yeah.
And it's going back and forth. They did that quite well.
Yeah.
Your favorite, Wrong Turn.
Oh my God, Wrong Turn. Definitely like with that tree fracas at the end.
Yeah.
When she knocks one of them off with the branch, and he has that moment where he like looks at her and makes a sound right before.
Yeah.
And then also the death that happens on the tree where you get axed in the mouth and the rest of the body falls down.
That one is no joke.
And then this was one of the first ever kind of like early aughts cop kills when it was still kind of a surprise in a way that it felt like, where you have out of nowhere, we think they finally made it to the cop, it's going to save them, and the arrow just comes out from behind him all of a sudden.
Yep. Satan Slaves.
I liked there was a intense car wreck, and then I liked the device of like a hidden message on the record.
I don't even remember any of this. I just remember, I think that's the one where there's the weird pee room.
Pee room? Oh yeah, the pee room.
There's like where you go, where you pee.
Yeah.
There's a little well and dirt floor, and that's where you pee.
Yeah.
What do we got? Oh, Inside.
The little baby that had cut to, the CG baby. That's
Yeah.
I know this is known for how violent and crazy it is, but I forgot about all that because there was no point to it, what it felt like when I was watching it.
You know, what's indelible to me is that was the movie where we hit our limit. We were like, you know what? Mm-hmm. I'm kind of done watching women get brutalized.
It was actually Deep Red, which was episode 27, that I first felt any kind of that.
Really?
Yeah.
We talked about Qui-Gon. We talked about Possession. Oh, God. Legend of Hell House.
Sorry, Qui-Gon, I just want to mention there is another indelible, crazy classic laugh at the end of the last story. It's the story within the story.
Oh, yes.
It's about like the guy who's fighting off the three ghosts.
Yep.
And that story ends with him just entering like completely insane laughter in the way that only the Japanese can do. It's so good.
Amazing. I mean, if we're, it's for possession as well. I mean, literally just the design of the continually growing monsters sticks out. Legend of Hell House.
I just thought that was the cat attack. And
yes, that's the one I have.
I was having fun anytime the scene of like working with this machine, and every time they turned on the machine, it was always cool. There was kind of this like,
yeah, that's true.
Wait to the moment.
Dolly Dearest.
Oh my God. I mean, anytime the doll opened its mouth. And then the thing we always go back to though is just like the mom just resorting to like blow it up as the strategy at the end.
Right. I just love any time the doll was sitting there and its head, you're like, come on, head, you got to turn your head, and then it does. It's like,
yeah. I forget her specific quotes, but God, she was.
Some of them are amazing.
Yeah.
Like hilariously dumb.
Yeah.
Listen to the episode. The Dead Don't Die.
Ooh, I liked this one. I mean, I remember just there's the weird scene that was in the trailer where Tilda Swinton's like the two zombies are lying there and like opening, closing their eyes to like the sort of twinkle sound effect, like it's all jokey.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
And then I liked their big showdown at the end too.
Yeah. Martin.
Let's see. I like the Pittsburgh woman that was clearly
yes.
Like a neighbor of one of theirs. And then I remember and like just the big like showdown at that one like super 70s house of the couple, the kind of like well-to-do couple, and just that it was all around his needle, like needle him.
Him jumping across a bed with a needle, like he's gonna inject them, like with this like leaping stab, is my favorite.
Yes, exactly.
Let's see, Poltergeist 2.
Poltergeist 2: The Other Side. We had I think like just the worm creature when it evolves to its full creature form and has the lip twitch. Like, talk about the moment within the moment. And then I gotta say, like, just because it's indelible because you're so like, is this good? Is this not good? When like the chainsaws and the different, the different tools that when they're like trying to escape to the car, and there's all the garage tools that are like trying to get them.
Yeah. When I think of Poltergeist 2, my whole, like, since I saw it as a kid, all I like that pops into mind is the worm monster coming out of Steven's mouth, like him throwing it up, and it's big. It's like his whole jaw has to open up for it to come out.
Reverend Kane showing up at the house too. That's like so good.
Yeah. Audition. I feel like the bag moving sort of reveal is always. I could say a big one.
The moment that got me. I told you I just watched it yesterday. When it's all going into crazy what's real, what's not mode, one of the first things we get for that is he sees like the tongue and the fingers like flapping around like fish on the ground.
Yes.
That was the moment for me this time.
Yeah. Midsommar.
That's
what I said.
Moment. Something about him being put in that bear suit.
Interesting. I think still just the build up to the ceremony of them jumping off and landing on the.
I would say the
Atastupa sequence. Yeah, that sequence really to me is like the moment of the movie.
Yeah, it's I think when they take the mallets for the Atastupa is like that's yeah. But then also I mentioned it's not just him in the bear costume, but it's the people who volunteered to get burned alive. The moment they get burned is that's God damn.
I also you know how much I love it, but like Christian just getting his butt pushed during the the sex. Get in there.
All the women who they circle him. Ugh.
Yeah. Where are we? Devil's Backbone? Oh, God.
I don't know.
Nothing. Society.
The big ending, of course, and...
Absolutely.
And the weird, like, ant-child woman.
Yes. Sisters.
Ooh. God. I don't know.
So for me, Sisters, the horror of Sisters is the moment that she goes into the asylum to call him out and kind of be like, see, I've caught him. She calls the police show up, and then the insane person is like, it's all right, guys. She's just one of our patients. She's having an episode. We've got it under control. And you realize she is fucked. Because there's nothing she can say that could make the police believe otherwise. That is fucking terrifying.
Yep.
Oh, God. Demon House.
So Zach Bagans, like, that is a Zach Bagans joint. Like, you think, what's something that can only happen? And I think for me, the indelible moment, it's like, I played it over and over in our episode, but like, it's the Zach Bagans thing to like, you just take a quote from someone telling the story and then just put the filters on it, put the boomers on it, put the echo on it. So it's like whatever he plays is telling the story of like the security guard. It's like, and then I said, who in there? And then he plays that over and over, this little audio. Yeah, who in there? Actually, I played it over and over, but they...
That's right.
It's just like the epitome of the Zach Bagans thing for me was that moment.
Yeah. Starry Eyes.
God, I mean, when it's like kind of the halfway through when isn't she like falling apart and then while attacking someone else in that house?
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah, she attacks the girl who's been a real asshole to her.
Yeah.
And her body is really just kind of disintegrating while it's happening.
I think it's those,
pretty gnarly.
Those first body horror moments. I think you get the classic like fingernails coming off.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. I think that's part of why I love that movie is just the body horror. And I love her performance because she really feels exactly like that character. Yeah. The Beyond.
I mean, the tarantula attack and then and then I feel like the last shot when they've entered the limbo.
Totally. Ready or Not?
Oof. I was not into that movie.
I mean, for me, it's just Samara Weaving with the hole in her hand and having to reach up and use it to pull herself out of the pit. By putting the hole over a nail so that she gets leverage.
I agree with that.
Woo! Phenomena.
I mean, that's the one with the chimpanzee.
It sure is.
The chimpanzee saving Jennifer Connelly at the end. And that, and then the first reveal of like the kid monster or whatever. And then also before that, the mother of the kid monster, like slamming all the her getting locked inside the house of like the shutters coming down. Yeah. God, and then
high-tech house.
The fly showing up, like, and Jennifer Connelly communing with them. God, that's the kind of thing with the Giallo films. It's all about indelible moments.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I just remember her wild night she has.
Yeah.
She goes sleepwalking. She falls off of a building. She
gets kidnapped.
She jumps out of a moving car. She rolls down a hill. She meets a chimpanzee. It's just never ending.
Yeah.
Eyes of My Mother.
Ooh, God. I mean, the whole like seduction scene that doesn't end up playing out.
Oh yeah,
the date, the big date. I remember that.
So good.
And then just that first, God. And laying with the body in the bathtub.
Yeah, for sure. Death Bell.
I liked when the indelible moment was when like one of the bodies just fell amongst the crowd, like when they were in the gymnasium.
Yeah. I just remember from that movie when, they've been sort of separated into two big groups, but like one group is just staying put because they're like, don't go anywhere, we're in danger, let's all just group together. And in the middle of that, there's a student who's listening to like a Hello Kitty iPod on full blast. It's like, yo, now's not the time.
Yeah.
And then, of course, she gets kidnapped or grabbed or whatever, and it's like, dude, what are you doing?
Right.
Psycho 2.
Ooh, I mean, the knife through the mouth.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Psycho 2 is the bloody ice
I think eating. That's the third one.
Is that the third one? Damn it. I can't get those two straight.
I know. I say that with uncertainty, too. But Psycho 2, it's like the knife through the mouth and then the getting hit in the back of the head. And
oh my God, yes, the shovel to the head.
yeah, and then
Yes.
Psycho 3 is, I think, where we, like the Jeff Fahey craziness.
Yes, totally.
The flashback to the kill of like the fireworks scene. Oh wait, no, that might have been the fourth one.
No,
actually.
I think that's
the fireworks was the fourth one. But there's another
you're right.
flash. Then it's the third one where you have the Jeff Fahey like naked with the
Totally.
lamp. That was great.
Yeah, lamp sex. It's the best. So Psycho 4, yeah, the fireworks.
Yeah.
Original Psycho.
I mean, yeah. I think that the ending Psycho 4, like shout out to Norma Bates in that one. Like any of those flashback moments where she was going, especially where she locked him in the closet, I think that was big.
Yeah.
And then yelling at him. Ooh.
Regular Psycho.
God, I mean, something that hasn't been said, but we might have said, the way he's snacking on the candy corn when the car is sinking.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
The Lighthouse.
Indelible moment's got to be the mermaid sex.
Yes, for me, it's Willem Dafoe running with the limp with him with the axe, like chasing him with the axe. That tracking shot alone is like everything to me.
Totally.
Trench 11. Ugh.
Yeah, just I mean how the worm creatures looked.
Yeah. Hexen.
Ooh, God, I mean, a moment. I remember like some of the. There was like, I can't conjure it right now, but
For me, it's the devil like character
Yeah.
popping up and out of windows and like making the like sort of thing with his tongue. Oh, so great.
great.
Shocker.
I mean, the big ending going through the TV.
Yeah.
That's the kind of
So
like what the
dumb.
movie is.
It's so stupid, but yeah. The stuff.
Dude, I mean, anytime the stuff attacks, we have the dinner table scene when he like fakes eating the shaving cream. We have
Yep.
when they get attacked by those people who are like running at them out of nowhere.
Yes.
The look,
the
curious shop owner.
Oh yeah. For me, the big one is when I think they're in a hotel room. And the stuff like flows sort of up, like they turned the room in reality so that it would look this way, but the stuff flows out of the bed upwards onto the wall. It's freaky and cool looking.
I think when his buddy gets victimized by the stuff, and we see like the stuff flowing out of the mouth.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the stepfather.
I really think the stepfather was pretty cool because of the what's his face in it, that actor.
Terry O'Quinn.
Terry O'Quinn in it. Him flipping out in the basement.
It's so good.
Yeah.
You could just put that on repeat. In the Mouth of Madness. Ooh.
Ooh, God. I mean, the pulsating door and then getting chased by all the monsters. And then I think what would always really get to me was the painting changing and him freaking out at that, and then the older woman with the her husband handcuffed
that's
to
it
him.
for me. Like the innkeeper.
The naked husband handcuffed to her foot.
And then later the payoff that she's like becoming a squid monster.
Yeah.
thing. I love that. Shivers.
Whew. I mean, when we think they're running against a wall, a hedge, that's a
Yes.
wall, and it's actually a hill.
Yes, it's the greatest. I love that whole sequence ending with the swimming pool stuff.
Yeah, I'd say just the way they scream is the indelible thing. The way the zombies, quote unquote, infected scream at the end of Shivers.
Yeah. Hide and seek.
That they're always like trying to hit each other in the head with something.
Oh yeah, that's his thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. Wish upon.
Wish upon. The whole movie was kind of an indelible moment, but the dad who's like recovering. I used to be a cool guy. I still want to be a cool guy. Dad.
Ryan Felipe
playing the saxophone, trying to be cool.
Yes. Oh my god.
And there's my favorite garbage disposal death with
There you go.
with Audrey from Twin Peaks.
Holy shit. Yeah, the wig. From Beyond.
I gotta say, I love Ken Voorhees' fracas with the big monster in the basement area.
Yes. Man, I think, I don't know. For me, it's hard. I think it's when you see the big attic monster form for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's like a blob of... It's just the design of it is so fucking cool. The Grudge.
Cutting the fingers off.
Oh, God. Absolutely nothing about that movie was indelible to me. Goosebumps.
Ooh, getting attacked by the lawn gnomes.
Yes. Angel Heart.
Robert De Niro's egg scene.
Yes. Amazing. Martyrs.
Ooh. I mean, getting skinned alive and being left alive. Probably.
Yeah, for me, it's the mask thing that she has to try and remove from the woman who's been in captivity forever, and she has to pull the nails out.
I think just
so brutal.
The first reveal of the whole underground area. Yeah.
Yeah. Bedeviled.
Oh yeah. What was it?
Bean paste.
Bean paste.
Amazing. Devil's Doorway.
I liked the Devil's Doorway. The blood coming out of the Virgin Mary statue's eyes, and then the headmaster, or whatever you call her,
Mother Superior,
the Mother Superior nun. Like whenever she'd just like jump scare us.
Yeah, totally. Just by staying still.
Yeah.
Dark Waters. Sorry, Demon Wind.
Demon Wind. God, I mean the character introduction at the beginning of the magician guy.
Yes.
And then...
He, remember when he throws a beer can in the sky and he fucking roundhouse kicks it out of the air?
So that, yes. And then, God, and then just there was something at the ending in the big attack, but I forget exactly.
Dark Waters.
Ooh, Dark Waters. The ending of when we see finally like the glimpses of the monster, like just its eyes through the wall.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the mom monster thing.
Yeah.
That is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That design, I wish the rest of the movie was that cool.
Yeah, the overall feel design of that movie was great. And then there was another woman getting set on fire in that one, too. That was pretty crazy.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And she just lets her die. She's like, oh, okay, I guess you're on fire. Alice, Sweet Alice.
Ugh, the what's-his-face's death. Ernesto, what was his name? Alfonso.
Just him as a character is the most. One Cut of the Dead.
I mean, I kind of rewatched bits and pieces of it again, but the just the gags with the drunk guy just really got me.
That's mine too. It's so good when you see like what was actually happening.
Yeah,
with him. Tourist Trap.
Ooh. God, I don't know.
So for me, it's just that the mannequin's jaws like clap open.
Yeah.
And they start moaning or whatever. Like that image by itself, and they like lean forward.
Yeah. For me,
it's so fucking cool.
It was something with the bad guy, that actor, when he's in his masked mode and he's doing this voice. I'd say just his performance, and then there's specifically like a dinner scene with him.
Yeah. Yep. The Innocence.
I mean, seeing that ghost across outside during the day, like that's what made me want to put this like in my top 9 as far as just feeling like I'm looking at a ghost when I'm watching this movie.
Right, in the sort of marsh island thing.
Yeah.
Circle?
I guess like, I don't know, first time someone gets zapped, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't really have anything for that movie. It's all just kind of one note to me.
Yeah.
2000 Maniacs.
Ooh, I mean, when they the first kind of like group kill where at the woman, like where they keep, it's just like in the
Oh my God.
where it's just like, it's okay, just lie there as they're like getting ready to chop her up. That and the between the barrel roll and the the rock fall, I'll pick the rock fall.
I think I like the barrel roll.
Cool.
Oh man, Cherry Falls. Oh God.
That one you hated a lot more than me.
I fucking hate it.
I really liked what's her face in it, Brittany Murphy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there are a lot of things I liked about it. I guess just the ending, where we get the crazy, what's his face? What's the actor? He's like, it's the twist. He's the bad guy. And he shows up at a party with like teenagers trying to have an orgy with an axe and is there to kill them all. Like,
yeah, I just like when he axes the cop in the back of the head.
Yeah, that was good.
Lyle?
I don't know.
When she comes out of the pool, the swimming pool, like the birthing pool, is sort of the only thing that I was like, this is where the movie should start.
Yeah.
The Mimic.
The Mimic.
Remember, our description of this movie was it even a movie? Because we don't remember anything about it.
I think the mirrors, the like the ghost or whatever it was in the mirrors, like slamming from the other side of the mirror, like like to have
pretty cool.
a one-sided mirror, two-sided mirror effect.
I'm just a big fan of like caves or like the passageway into darkness.
Yeah,
and I was disappointed that the movie didn't sort of get more of that vibe, but that's what I remember from it.
Yeah,
Cannibal Girls.
Cannibal Girls. I see, just maybe it's just because it's in the trailer, but like it's not even with the main characters, but when the woman goes to the butcher shop and just the way
right.
that the butcher is like hamming it up and then kind of like winks the most he can close his eye on. Like he's one of those people who just can't wink, but he does it.
Yeah, for me, it's just Eugene Levy putting the fucking cigarette on the end of the guitar string.
Yeah.
Fiend Without a Face. Oh no, sorry. I tried to skip our least favorite movie, Girl Next Door.
Definitely when she demands that they set the, what are they called? The caterpillar.
Yeah, they're like silkworm, sort of worm basket things. I forget what
that grow on trees. I'd never heard of them before, and she just casually wants to burn them up.
Where I grew up, they're gross. Fiend Without a Face.
Fiend Without a Face, not to be confused with Eyes Without a Face. I mean, God, a moment, just the final big like attack at the end when they're just shooting them all, like, and
the first time you see one of the brain monsters,
the fiends.
Ugh, I love everything about that. I love it when they bust into the room and the third in command sort of military guy, the way he shoots at one of them is so aggressive. He's got a pistol and he's like throwing the pistol at it as he shoots. He's sort of like, kapow! It's so fucking good. The Lodgers.
Moment. God, just the visual of the water creeping up out of the hole.
Yeah, me too. Velvet Buzzsaw?
That, I mean, the monkey coming out of the painting and killing the guy.
Yeah. That's a good, I don't know what mine would be for that. Oh, man.
I mean, sticking the arm into the art piece at the end.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that. Maybe that's what it is for me, sure. Under the Skin.
Like, you already said it with the body getting sucked out of the skin.
It's the best, the greatest thing ever. Phantom of the Opera.
The mask reveal. Sorry, the face reveal.
That's right. Eyes Without a Face.
God, I just feel like at the end when she finally escapes and stabs the woman, I feel like the professor getting his comeuppance, getting torn apart by the dogs.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I mean, for me, it's just the operation of taking a face off of the first woman.
Of course. Duh. Yeah.
And then last of our 99 movies we've watched so far, Carnival of Souls.
Yeah, I think the souls dancing in fast motion.
Yeah. For me, it's just this one shot that I tried to describe in our episode, but she's in the, what do we call the carnival area?
Mm-hmm.
And
Pavilion.
she's alone. Yeah, the pavilion. She's inside of it looking out, and she's sort of surrounded by pillars and arches, and out in the distance is this sort of like salt lake, dry lake, whatever. And it's just a beautiful shot, like everything about it. So there you have it, folks.
All right.
99.
There they are.
It only took a half hour or something.
Well, hey, this is the only episode 100 we got.
That's true. So the real question is, do we want to keep talking?
I mean, if this is just you and me, which is the spirit of this show, I have more I want to talk about with you.
All right. I'm into it. So the next thing that we discussed was paying a little homage or tribute to the, the trope of horror that is the sort of the female, heroine of horror. Like it's probably the most common thing that we see in horror.
Hand in hand with horror is the women of horror.
Yeah, and, sometimes the final girl aspect of that, but sometimes not necessarily that specifically. And so we tasked ourselves with picking the standout females or women of the movies we've watched.
And I mean, my direction for this, like, I don't know, warning here, we're going to be, this is our broing out section. If we're two bros here, it's basically like direction, who is on our 12-month calendar, who are we crushing on the hardest? In the same way that I would love to hear your top crushes and films. I hope it's somewhat fun.
And to point out that it's not, why we're attracted to somebody isn't just because we think they're like pretty. You know what I mean? Like, to me at least, it's like a lot of what makes these, like, picking the women who are awesome is either the character or the performance or just like their essence or whatever it is.
See, and that's the kind of thing where I wanted, this going to tricky territory. It's like that shouldn't have to be said, though.
I know, isn't that funny?
Yeah. But it's like, but then it's true. Like, I mean, for me to sort of come up with this too, like, are we objectifying them, or is it, but then we say, no, of course, like, what I like about them is beyond just looks, but then also it's like, I kind of have to trust just this instinctual beyond, it's like, who do you like? It's beyond thought.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely.
How many, how do we want to do this, Tim? I do have a top. I have how I ended up sorting this out. I ended up, just trying to cull it down. I have a top 10 and then a top 12 and then a top, like, then there's a 13th, if there's 13th, and then there's like a final 5 that almost made it in those top.
Yeah, I have 13, so I have like an honorable mention.
Okay, great. Should we do them all then? Who wants to go? How do we do it?
I don't know. I think we just go through it.
Starting top?
Sure.
All right.
I mean, yeah, sure. I'll start. Okay. I mean, I think, you gotta give credit where credit's due. We've watched 2 movies with her, Samara Weaving. Mm-hmm. I want to see her in more stuff because I think she elevates the movies she's in.
Yes.
Because both those movies, I think, Ready or Not and The Babysitter, without her specifically, would not fucking be good movies.
Absolutely. She was, and rather than kind of wait to hold off, she was my number 10.
Oh, nice. Next, So next I've got Manuela Velasco. Do you know who that is?
Totally. From Angela in Rec.
Yep. She's great. She's super compelling. And it's almost like in a weird, like, I don't even know why. But I think part of it is that she feels so much like a real person.
Yeah.
rather than a caricature or sort of,
I mean,
a
she's
fantasy thing.
The
or
reason
whatever.
why, like, when the first Wreck, the first Wreck is just one of the best, like, I think recent horror films.
It's
like, I really
so great.
And it's largely because when she first pops up and is kind of does a take 2 and 3, like, and you see that happening, God, you're in the movie. She was in my honorable mentions 5.
Oh, nice. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. Christina Marcella.
Dude, she was my number 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Fuck
I
yeah,
was going off of just my memory of like how distracted I was by whoever what the star was. Like that's kind of like how I did this rating system. Where
That's
like
funny.
anytime, I mean, she's in the whole movie, but whenever you're looking at her, I'm just
If you're
like,
wondering, she's the lead in opera.
Yeah, the lead in
Those
opera.
of you who are like, who the hell is that?
Yeah, as Betty in opera. God, man, I was pretty taken with her.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even sure what it is about her. I don't know. It's weird. It's a combination of a bunch of things for sure. I mean, she's beautiful. That's like the given, but like there is a quality that she has that is very, I don't know how to describe it. It's weird. It's like I want to like, just like lounge around and like talk about the world with her.
I want to like write a story with her, you know?
Yeah, she's super compelling. Okay, so you obviously had her. So next I had Selma Blair because I have a fucking huge crush on her forever. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot she should be up there. She didn't make it. I think I just somehow slipped through. Yeah.
She's just such a fucking badass. I think that's what I love about her.
And was so much fun to see her make the switch to evil.
Yeah.
God.
She's just one of those people who I'm like, she just doesn't take any shit.
Yeah.
And I find that to be just like some of my favorite characters. I mean, obviously like movies that we have not watched on this, but like the classic like woman lead parts like Sigourney Weaver or, Linda Hamilton. Or,
super distinct looking. She has that like both sharp and soft kind of. Yeah. She's
great. Who did you throw one out there?
I had the number 1. I said Betty opera. My number 2 is Lisa Bonet as Epiphany Proudfoot.
Angel Heart.
Like, God damn! Like she's just stunning in that film. Like,
well, and it helps too because she's playing a very different character than we had sort of known her as.
Yeah. Well, she's just like that whole film too. It's like it's a lot of that like what we talked about. You don't know what's up, what's down. Your main frame of lens through Mickey Rourke as like a crazy person who's so unhinged. Mm-hmm. And then she just kind of carries this she knows what's up, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So next I have the greatest well, it's not a stage name, but the greatest name of anybody ever, Gail Honeycutt.
Wait, who is that?
She is in The Legend of Hell House. She's the one who kind of gets like hypnotized and like sleepwalks.
Of course.
And it's just a hilarious sequence, but she's great.
Yeah, I remember crushing on her pretty hard. She didn't make my list, but yeah.
Yeah. Who's next for you?
Number 3, it's just kind of unsung. I mean, so it's funny. I had before I knew, that we honed this list exactly what it was. I had basically like all encompassing the 3 women of Halloween, the 3 generations in Halloween. So like shout out there. But in terms of just kind of like enamored with Virginia Gardner as Vicky, she's like was number 3 out of all the women we've seen who I've been distracted by. She's the one, you know what just kills me, Tim, is those like jersey shirts. She's the one in the yellow jersey shirt who's babysitting the funny kid.
Oh, right. That's right. I completely forgot about her.
I did not. I have not. And
Fair enough.
I wonder
Fair
what else
enough.
she's in. She's number 3.
That's great. My next one is Alex Esso, who was the lead in Starry Eyes.
Totally. I know she was like a big part for just why you liked that film at all. Yeah.
She's just cool and awesome, and like her performance in that movie is, I just fucking love it. I don't know. She's gotten some really good work since then. She's in something that's coming out soon that I was really happy to be like, oh shit, she like got a solid role. She plays the mom in Doctor Sleep. So she, they basically do flashbacks from The Shining in Doctor Sleep.
I started
so
and stopped Doctor Sleep. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's not great. But I was like, holy shit, she's in a fucking big movie, like she's crushing it. Great.
Yeah. What's her name again?
Alex Esso.
Cool. No, she was really fun to kind of view, you and I relate to kind of being a certain age in LA and seeing her kind of like, oh yeah, you totally know these people.
Right.
Okay, my number 4, Tim, like, so I wanted to put her higher, almost couldn't, but in 47 Meters Down, Lisa, Mandy Moore. Could have Mandy Moore, like, God.
I love Mandy Moore.
I don't just say, I just love Mandy Moore. That's it.
Nice. I've got Catriona McCall, who's the lead in The Beyond.
Oh, yeah.
She plays the blind woman. It's fucking great. She's just cool and like, I don't know. The vibe of that whole movie is so 70s. It's just like, I love everything about it.
Yep. I had to put next, after Mandy, our girl Florence Pugh as Danny in Midsommar.
Nice.
Like, man, talk about just like, it's, you get frustrated at these chumps who are somehow going out with these incredible women, and just like the tensions that brings up, and just that, like the whole movie. I'm like, what are you doing, Florence?
My next one. Yeah, shit, where was I? Oh, right. The lovely Tanya Roberts, who is in Tourist Trap.
She made my honorable mentions.
She's the woman in Beastmaster, which has a very special place in my heart.
Moonraker, I think, too.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. So, yeah, I just love her. She's great. She should have been the final girl of Tourist Trap, but whatever.
Yeah. Talk about sort of classic final girls. Yuzuki Akiyama as Aika Matsumoto in One Cut of the Dead.
Where am I here? Okay, so next I have somebody who is, pretty new. Charlotte Vega, who was the lead in Lodgers. Who's got a few things coming up.
She was great.
She's in a show that just started on Netflix called Warrior Nun, which looks strange and interesting. But man, she carried that movie, The Lodgers. She really did. She's super interesting and grounded and like all these things that I really like.
Oh my God. Yeah, totally felt for her every step of the way. Like if it wasn't for her, that movie, like
yeah, it would not have been good.
Yeah. No, she should have made my list too. I just looked at somehow. I had next, I hated putting her this low, but ended up however it was. Scar Joe as quote unquote the female in Under the Skin.
Yeah, she's my next one too.
Cool. I mean, she's ScarJo.
She's so good in that.
Yeah. And to see her too, like, play someone who intentionally had to deceive people who might recognize her. I don't know. It was like you were watching her, but not in some way. It was cool. Just an actor stepping into the role.
I just really like watching somebody kind of do a character that is it may not be against type for who she is as a person.
Yeah.
But it's against type for what the industry has decided she should be. And I fucking love watching
This
that.
is why she works for Lost in Translation so well too, but I love her looking at things curiously and not kind of not understanding them and looking at things
like a pondering.
Yeah, looking at things quizzically, and that's basically all she's doing in Under the Skin. So like,
Totally,
absolutely.
Oh man. Well, the next one I have is Isabella Adjani.
Oh, in Possession.
Yep.
She made my honorable 5.
And honestly, it's one of those things. I mean, she's beautiful, whatever, but it's not about that. It's about watching an actor go full fucking tilt. Mm-hmm. And when somebody can get there, I'm immediately in love with you.
Yes, full tilt.
Like, it's so impressive to watch somebody go full on and let it all hang out there.
Right. It's like anyone who accomplishes some kind of feat are like attraction points, of course.
Yeah, it's so good.
Next, I had after ScarJo, Louise Salter as Elizabeth in Dark Waters.
Oh, yeah.
So as forgettable and kind of weird as Dark Waters was, like, you get why it has its fandom of just kind of the setting, the story, and her.
No, she is good. She kind of does hold the thing together because at least she's interesting. So my 12th is Candace Hillegas, who was the lead in Carnival of Souls, which we just watched. And
absolutely.
She's so fucking interesting to watch.
Yeah.
As just a person.
So
I love her.
My number 9, Kim Parker as Barbara Gurzel in Fiend Without a Face.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
She was just like, God, talk about someone you want to have witty banter with, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Awesome. Big fan of Barbara. My number 10, since I was a little behind, is Samara Weaving. I already talked about her.
Nice.
My number 11 and 12 were Lupita as Adelaide in Red and Eliza Dushku as Jessie in Wrong Turn. So
I thought about giving her some honorable mention, and then I realized I don't deserve to.
Eliza Dushku.
Kept calling her the wrong thing.
Eliza Dushku, she's Dushku. Lupita, like, just those scenes of her, like, when they're the family at the beginning hanging out, it's like,
I know.
How bad do you just want to, like, hang out with her? You know, like.
Oh, she's the greatest. So then I only have an honorable mention, and largely because, I mean, she's in one of my top 9 movies, Barbara Crampton.
Yeah, she's in my honorable 5. Yeah,
from Beyond. But there you go. That's it for me.
I mean, it's so much fun seeing her go from the classic, like, glasses, hair up to full dominatrix mode. Just like run the gamut. It's so classic.
Oh man.
So that's like the first 12, the calendar 12, 13. So I felt like really weird about liking her when Brittany Murphy in Cherry Falls, you were like, yeah, she just felt drugged up to me. And I'm like, oh, her craziness just felt like honest and interesting to me. So
it's interesting.
I like that about her in there. She's like got super specific choices of when like freaking out, like, I don't know. Was into her. She carried that movie for me, and then some. And then the only other person you didn't mention that I have in these next honorable 5 is Jo Beth Williams as Diane Freeling, Poltergeist 2.
Yeah, I felt like, I mean, I love Jo Beth Williams, don't get me wrong, but I felt like because it's not the first Poltergeist, which is where I like love her the most.
Right. I relate to her more in that one. But she's still Jo Beth Williams, so
it's true.
I can not include her.
Cool, dude.
Great.
Well, there you have it.
Anything you want to say, Tim? You want to say about how this has been like if this has been a journey for us? And this has been an adventure, just exploring all these places. Just how has it been watching a horror movie a week for 99 weeks?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's not that different than my normal. It's not like it doesn't fit in with my normal life, right?
Yeah.
Like I watch movies basically every day. But I think the thing is like doing this in a structured way and actually forcing yourself to sit down and like talk about and sort of pick apart what it is about a movie. Even the worst movies we watch, we get something out of trying to learn like why it doesn't work, like what happened. And not that we are authorities on that, but you do get sort of a pretty good knee-jerk sense of like a thing, and being able to kind of continually talk about it and explore that has really, really increased my kind of ability to assess quickly, I think.
Yeah.
And to identify things quickly and be like, oh, right, so remember how many times we've seen this thing not work? Like, people are still doing that or whatever, and vice versa. And I think it's just the value of this just for ourselves. I mean, I hope people who are listening get as much out of it as we do, but I get a shitload out of just having the conversation. It's like constantly banking all of this information and, now feel like I will be a better filmmaker for it.
Absolutely.
And maybe a better person.
Yeah.
Because we do end up talking a lot about just sort of the humanity. I mean, that's the other thing about horror. It's like we're really getting into the humanity of things.
Oh, go deep into all sorts of topics, philosophy.
Yeah.
It's been great for that. So is it ever that it's horror, that you're watching horrible things happen to people? Does it ever feel like it's too much? Is it unhealthy in any ways? Is it because we have the distancing, but movies are also they're real places in a way too? Like, was there a question in there that you can answer?
Yeah, I don't know. There have definitely been times where I was like, when I'm looking to see what I want to watch, and I'll go to the horror section, and I'll be like, yeah, I think I'm good. Like I've gotten my fill for the week. But then there are times when I'm like, nah, man, like I put on Crawl the other day. That movie sucks.
I wanted
but
to watch
I put it on.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I want to see what this is all about.
Yeah.
Alligators.
But you think going to dark places is always a healthy thing if you're, if you have the headspace to do it?
I rarely, if ever, find that there is a lasting negative impact on me from watching these movies.
Yeah.
If anything, I think there's more so a lasting positive impact of being able to reflect on some things that I normally wouldn't be thinking about.
Right. And there was apropos, maybe we'll end on this, there was an article that came out recently, we're still in COVID-19 quarantine times, that said studies show horror movie fans are better equipped to shelter in place quarantine pandemic time. Like
wow.
We're doing like psychologically better.
No wonder it's been so easy.
It's pretty funny. This was great, Tim. This has all been so great. I'm glad you've been here. It's been an honor to do all these first 99 episodes with you. I look forward to more.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to replace myself with somebody else, so
you could do
enjoy whoever that is.
All right. You just don't tell me. Just put a mask on them.
Yeah. I'll put a Tim mask on their head.
Like a weird Phantom of the Opera mask with a little lip flap.
Yeah, man. No, this is great. It's just always great to explore this with somebody who has a different point of view, and yet we both, often are kind of on the same wavelength. It's nice.
Yeah, it's always fun to have that frame of reference. What tickles one and what does not another. Well, Tim, we've been here a while. Can we just eschew the recommendations, just figure out what we're watching next week?
Sure, let's do it.
Great.
Do you remember if it's your poll or mine?
I believe it's mine.
Ooh, okay, well, tell me when.
All right, first actual triple digit episode of a movie. And now.
1944.
The Uninvited, 1944. Cool. We've been getting some older ones.
Yeah, I'm into it.
I don't think I've seen this. Well, clearly, yeah. Cool. Great. Excited to see it, as always. I mean, hey, I just want to wrap this up. I don't want to say anything else. If you've listened to all these with us, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening.
Yes, and we will see you next time.
We will.
Okay, great. We will. All right. Goodbye,
All right,
everyone.
bye.